Everybody, what is up, and welcome on into another episode of the B&D Podcast. I'm your host, Dyllon and Brendan, with my co-host,
Brendan Anderson.
And guess what, guys? We have two special guests with us today. You're not going to believe it. Another episode with guests. We
love them. We just love hanging out with the boys, so it's like...
It's fun. I've enjoyed the last episodes with the guests. So.
Yeah. The guests, dude. It's all about the guests. The guests are our friends. It's not Papa John.
Oh, not Papa John this
Dang
day.
it.
No Sody Pops. Our good friend Austin Putnam.
Yeah, what's up, guys?
And our good buddy Gentry Michael Tramel.
Hello.
G-Tram. It's G-Tram, man. Hot.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Breath of God. God, apparently what a treasure.
Oh, man. So what's up, guys?
I'm just
So,
chilling here.
if you guys out there, all of our listeners are out there, you hear some little clinks, some little slurps right now, maybe some package, unwrapping. What's happening right now on the other end of this mic, we are having a delicious candy cane and hot chocky social. Okay, so we've got
marshmallows in my hot chocolate.
We have Ghirardelli double hot chocolate, premium A-grade stuff.
Only the
Okay,
best.
mixed with a nice 2% milk, a nice medium ground, because some
no
people,
water in this?
mine does because I ran out of milk. So, and I love my boys. So you guys all got the real stuff.
But hey, tell me that we have all seen that episode of Parks and Rec with.
Run! Can I get some more marshmallows in my
Oh,
hot
I like John
chocolate?
Blank. What's his name on the show?
Aziz Ansari.
Tom Haverford.
Tom Haverford.
Tom Haverford.
Yeah, he's laying on the couch. Can I get some more marshmallows in my hot chocolate?
Why is he saying that? What happens? What happens to him?
I can't remember.
Something happens to him.
Yeah,
I can't
something
remember
happens.
what is going on.
But
Is he like sick or?
I think he might be sick.
Is it because he broke up with his wife and he's bummed about it or something?
Oh,
Or
that's
maybe.
probably
the green card marriage?
Ron just chucks a marshmallow on him and says, "Get out."
Classic role.
So
that's awesome.
Yeah, so we're having a hot chocky and candy cane social. And I really wish all the listeners were here to enjoy this with us because honestly, this is just pleasant. That's just the word.
This is delicious.
Delightful.
Delightful.
You had that little bit of peppermint from the candy cane in the hot
Yes.
chocolate, and it's hard to you can't go
And they
wrong.
make those special chocolate with like the peppermint infused in it.
Already
This is
in there,
like-
dude.
Oh yeah, I
the
think it's
real-
a.
But this is raw, man. This is
That's what I'm
like
saying, this is
you
the
dip
real
the
deal.
candy cane, you stir it around, it comes out with like this hot chocolate layer on it,
It
and,
extracts the
and
flavors.
it really melts it. In fact, Stan was mixing for a hot second there, and straight up half his candy cane
Oh,
just
just
dislodged
gone.
and
It's
went
like
straight
a,
to the
like a
hot
cookie
chocolate.
and milk.
It's in there now.
It just turned soggy.
Pretty much. That's what's going on. So.
One of our buddies in high school used to have these things called cookie and milk socials. This is that, but like 5
This
times
is
better.
this is the
Yeah,
equivalent.
who was
of
that?
Yeah.
No, this
Colby.
is Colby. Colby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Old buddy Colby.
Sounds like something you would do.
That's definitely something you would do. All right, well, let's jump in on this. Why don't y'all, G-Tram, Big Sting, you guys pop in whenever you feel
Yep.
like you
Totally
want.
Open, just whenever you want to say something, just let it fly.
Your opinions are very much valued on this show, and
Can they
we,
pick me up from all the way back?
Yep.
towards the end we might ask
Just lean forward a little
we
bit.
might ask both y'all a couple questions at the end too. So.
Okay.
Okay, so let's just do a real quick what's going on in college football. We talked last week about just kind of bowl games and stuff, so let's reiterate those. Aggies are going to be playing in the Nova Home Loans Arizona Bowl. That will be on December 29th in Tucson, Arizona. So if you're an Aggie fan out there, well, I mean, if you're a dual Aggie fan out there, either or, because we are playing New Mexico State Aggies. So
Oh.
if either of the Aggie fan bases are out there, sorry Texas A&M, you didn't get invited to this one. Haha.
Yeah, is there any more Aggies? in the NCAA?
Yeah, there's a lot. That's like a. I mean, I'd say there's probably 10 to 12.
What ones
Are there more like Division
Is it
Ones?
just
though?
is it just because it's an agricultural school
Yeah.
like
Mhm.
for Texas
Yeah.
A&M and then
Yeah.
New Mexico?
So actually, Colorado State used to be the Aggies. I don't know if you guys remember that, but
Oh.
they even put like an orange block A on the back of their helmets to like remember that they were the Aggies. I guess
Really?
just like a tradition thing.
Don't back
So they
on the
used to
Aggies.
be the Aggies. Yeah, dude. I was paying attention to him when he was playing. Dalton Sackrell.
Is he gone or
No, he's still there. I just when we played him this
He's
year.
a
I was
junior.
Oh,
rooting
when you
for him.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So, anyways, Aggies play the New Mexico State Aggies. ESPN's picking Utah State to win that game. Again, December 29th. That is roughly 2 weeks away, so should be fun. Should be a good one. Y'all want to talk Utes?
Yes, we got
since I
Utah.
got 3 Utes in the room with me.
The old Zaxby's Heart of Dallas Bowl. And I would love this bowl a lot better if it was the... Why am I messing up the name right now? The best chicken place in the entire world.
Zaxby's.
No, not
No,
Zaxby's.
Cane's.
Raising
Are you
Cane's.
guys kidding me? Zaxby's? No.
No, Raising
We're talking
Cane's.
Raising Cane's.
We're talking Raising
Okay.
Cane's.
Zaxby's is like the wannabe.
Yes,
Cane's.
the
Not as
sponsor of this bowl is Raising Cane's. Or excuse me, no, it's Zaxby's. And I wish it was Raising Cane's. Because I would actually go out to Dallas if it was for Raising Cane's. But anyway, the Utah is playing West Virginia in the Heart of Dallas Bowl, Zaxby's Heart of Dallas Bowl. Still no word on if the West Virginia quarterback is going to play. Will Greer is his name. And he's a really good player, so...
Do they still play John Denver after every win?
Probably. Almost
That's a real thing.
West Virginia.
They play John Denver
they do.
after.
So if he plays,
Take me
I
home.
expect a Utah loss. If he doesn't, I expect a
Ooh,
close game. So,
I belong.
yep,
West Virginia.
Honestly, though, let me tell you this before we get too sidetracked.
Take me home.
I've been to West Virginia
Country road.
a few times in my day, and that's a state that you
I
guys
have-
should check out.
Yeah. Well,
I would love to check out West Virginia.
I have a story real quick.
Okay,
If you
hit
don't
it.
mind
Yep, hit
debating
us.
for a
Hit
minute.
us.
Okay, so the first time we went to West Virginia, we were on a trip from Salt Lake to Washington D.C. because we had recently purchased like a camper, it's not an RV, you know, like.
I thought you were gonna say like a business. I was
Yeah.
like, oh
No, sorry.
Just like a
Big businessman.
Yeah, it was like a
trailer.
Just so I can
camper
pull it.
trailer. Right,
Yep,
right.
okay.
And anyways, went to DC. One of the stops was West Virginia. My mom was obsessed with the KOA the campsites because they were high quality.
Yeah, my mom did that too.
Yeah.
same.
So the first person we met in West Virginia was a guy with a wooden peg leg. Okay.
Wow.
I didn't think these people. I mean, not. I didn't think they.
Like they have like a wooden leg.
Right, I didn't
Like
think
that
they have
fam-
modern
like that
prosthetics.
Family
It's
Guy
like the
dude.
hardcore stereotype, like
The hard guy on Family Guy.
Right. And he had an eye patch too, and like you can just piece the rest together about this dude. But he came and he barely had like a tooth in his mouth. But it was a nice kid.
So a stereotypical West Virginia night.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to.
Just another night there.
Racist or anything, but I mean, the dude was he to check every box off of the stereotype.
Is it because he spent so much
Country
time in the
mountains.
Smoky Mountains? He was just wrestling with bears and like taking down like
I wish I
Zubats.
had that as
Zubats.
Wild
Taking down
Zubat.
Pokemans.
Hey man, he's into the Pokemon Go, you know.
So anyways, that was
I don't know why I said
that was the first person I'd
Yeah.
ever seen and talked to.
So you see Rusty Buckets in West Virginia and you think to yourself, I'm going to move here when I turn 18.
Rusty buckets.
Okay, so anyway, West Virginia versus Utah, Heart of Dallas Bowl, December 26th, 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 1:30 p.m. Mountain Time.
What's it
Got
on?
a couple East
ESPN
Coast.
or-
Yeah, it's on ESPN. Got a couple East Coast listeners out there. Okay, so
You might be
yeah,
interested.
check that out. Tyler Huntley should be playing, and that's good for the Utes. So again, not a ton on bowl games. In fact, I'm going to throw out an opinion here. I think there's too many bowl games. Do you think that's a thing? What's your opinion on that?
Here's the thing, I think you need to set the standard, okay? The standard is 6 wins. We had, last year, the year before, we had teams with a losing record going to a bowl game. I don't think that's okay.
Right.
If we're going to say, look, 6 wins should get you into a bowl game, I think that should be the case. But we actually have, was it 3 teams this year that didn't get into a bowl game?
Yes.
So I'm all for setting the standard, set the bar. What is it? Is it 6 wins? Is it 7 wins? Right now it's set at 6 wins. If you make 6 wins, you need to go to a bowl game. That's just my personal thought on it. So we've got 3 teams out there. Aggies and Utes could have been some of the mix that didn't make it if there were less bowl games at only 6 wins, right? And
Yep.
so I don't know. That's kind of where I'm at on that
I'm
one.
just thinking about it from like a consumer standpoint. It's just too much to like
Too much
consume.
to take in.
Yeah, like to watch.
Yeah, but it's good for universities because they get bowl payouts.
Yeah,
help some of those smaller programs.
yeah, it's yeah, I don't know. It's a give and take thing.
Like,
but-
there's an extra few mil for the Aggies.
yeah,
and
yeah.
Utes
For
this year because
teams,
there's
for like
plenty of
the actual
bowls to go
teams,
around.
universities is good, but like for as like a product,
Yeah.
I don't think it's that great.
I just think they need to open up playoffs to more teams. Oh, sorry.
I'm all for that.
Yeah, and we talked about
we
that.
brought that up last week. I had an idea of an 18 playoff.
18, I
Each
agree.
each P5 gets a bid. 2 G5 teams get a bid, and then 1 at large for just whoever else is deserving of it. But that was my idea. So let's make it happen. College football playoff committee.
Yes, they need to.
Okay, so moving right along, Weber State's just worth mentioning. They were playing. Who was it that they played?
James Madison.
James Madison, that's right. Those guys had won they won 28 straight games now or something like that in their FCS realm.
Who?
James Madison.
James Madison.
So Weber State played them in the second round of the FCS playoffs. FCS has like a 16-team playoff or something
They
like
do.
that. They have a much bigger playoff, which would be kind of cool to look at what they've done. But so Weber State actually lost to them on a last-second field goal, which was a heartbreaker for a lot of our Ogdenites up north. So just worth mentioning. And then last but not least, Heisman Trophy winner goes to Baker Mayfield of the Oklahoma Sooners. So
Yeah, I love Baker Mayfield. I love his game. I honestly really hope that if Denver does go QB in this first round of the NFL draft, that they seriously take a look at him.
he kind of reminds me of today's like Johnny Manziel a little
He
bit.
does. But I think he has some color. He has a colorful past. He's got some issues, some off the field issues. But that was a few years ago, so I would like to hope that he's kind of cleaned that up. But his numbers this year were 71% completion rate, 262 to 369, 4,340 yards, 11 yards an attempt, threw 41 touchdowns. Yeah, I get that in there. And he only threw 5 interceptions with a season QB rating of 203.8. So I mean that's Heisman numbers, obviously. So like a lot of times the Heisman winners, they don't like translate over to the NFL. So I'll be interested to see, because he's going to get drafted. I'll be interested to see who takes a flyer on him and if he pans out. I mean, I like his game. I think he's a good player. So
For sure. I just want everybody to hear how delicious this hot chocolate is. Like, I just think it's important for our listeners to understand fully how amazing this hot chocolate
You know
is.
how sharp these candy canes get?
Candy cane, dude, you could straight up, you could really hurt someone. You could,
You can pick your teeth. Yeah.
yeah.
I definitely stabbed
We
my
just-
son with a candy cane when I was
Yeah.
younger, and it was pretty bad.
We just got back from Buffalo Wild Wings, so Gentry's doing a little toothpicking with his candy cane here. So.
Clearing out the gunk.
Cool. Well, let's swing to NFL. Dylan's Broncos are playing at the moment. So here's the thing in Dylan's life right now is he has no idea what he wants, and he'll say out loud what he wants, but it really doesn't make any
need him
sense.
to lose.
So see there it is. That's what I'm talking about right there. So he really wants the Broncos to lose, okay? And it's because he wants them to tank at this point to get a good that's exactly it. He wants them to tank to get a good draft pick, right? But then we'll sit there and watch the game, and like the instincts within Dylan, like if Denver makes a good play, he'll go like yes. You'll be like, oh wait,
But then he catches himself.
yeah, he catches himself, and he is so torn, and it's very interesting to watch. If you have an opportunity, however, are there 2 games left after this? 2 regular season games after this? If you get a chance in the next 2 weeks to watch a Broncos game with Dylan, you should do it, because it's actually really funny to see him just like tear himself up inside.
I'll say that this right now, Denver's leading by 8 with a minute left in the third quarter, and I am pissed.
See how happy he sounds?
Really
Like
pissed.
you don't know like what's real and what's fake with this guy right now.
The thing is, though, is so hard. Is like as a fan of anything, you want the thing that you're a fan of to succeed, right? But sometimes it's in the best interest of that thing to actually lose. Like, for example, just now, if Denver loses this game, then they will have a better draft pick than Indianapolis. They have the same record right now. Actually, Denver has 1 more win than them. So if Indianapolis wins, they'll be tied for the same record, but Indianapolis has a win over them. So Denver will drop back down to the 3rd spot. Right now they're sitting at 5. the difference between 3 and 5 can like make or break in the NFL. Like,
Do you think each coach was like, all right, boys, we're not going 10s tonight. We're going.
But you need
no, because
here's the thing, though, is you need a quarterback, and
exactly
quarterbacks don't usually go that high.
quarterbacks in the draft.
I mean, it depends, but remember Chicago.
The first two QBs are going to be the first 2 picks will be QBs.
You remember how much crap Chicago got for trading up and getting Trubisky or whatever that high, and people were like, even their own fans
because
were
they
really
didn't think that he
dogging
was
on
a
him.
top like 10 pick talent, but he was going to go in the first round. A lot of people were saying that because they thought Chicago could have got Trubisky where they were in like the 20s.
Yeah.
So they were surprised they moved all the way up to 2 to get him, which us as the public, we don't know what's going on behind the scenes. They might have got wind of, hey, just example, Tampa Bay is moving up to draft Trubisky, like something like that. And so then they're like, well, crap, we got to pull the trigger and we got to move up. So I don't know, man. It's just a fine line between picks that you play, and I mean the higher pick the better for you. So at this point, Denver's season's over. They're not going to the playoffs. The rest of the games are just for evaluating talent and going out to play because they're professionals. But one thing is, you're not going to ever get the players to like be on board with tanking because they're the players. They're concerned with like the franchise, but like they're not in it as like in the long haul for like fans or like the organization's
That's
management.
much pride.
Right.
Which you should.
Exactly. Like they're not. The players are thinking, I have a 5 to 7 year span, hopefully on the long side, to play this game professionally and make as much money as I can. So I'm not going to waste 1 year tanking, so to speak. Especially if there's only 16 games in an NFL season. So the players, they're definitely not dogging it. I mean, maybe some are that are like, hey, I got paid this. I mean, I'm good. I don't need to play these last couple games. But like for guys that are borderline sitting there on that, are they on the 53-man roster? Are they not? Are they going to have a team next year? They're fighting their asses off. So general management.
There it is, another red E.
Yep.
How many can you have? Just one? And it's an E? Or?
Yeah,
Yeah,
she's
yeah.
more explicit.
One
now.
little swear bear.
But
Really?
Yeah.
swear bear. But so yeah,
Keep
like
the streak alive, baby.
I think
Hell yeah.
the general management of the team would be like, if you give them some truth serum, they'd say, yeah, we want to lose them. But the players are definitely not going out there to lose. You play to win the game. You play to win the game. Hello. Anyway, so yeah, it's kind of it's weird.
Sometimes Dylan just goes off and some kind of quote. It happens a lot.
I mean, I wouldn't want to be like told like, hey, we want you to lose
Exactly,
this game.
no.
That caliber,
You're
like, you have to be
professional.
so competitive.
Exactly.
And professional.
You're-
Like,
Maybe it's more like an unspoken.
yeah, it's
But
probably
at this
I
point,
doubt it.
dude,
I would
like,
say,
unless you're deeper on the Broncos roster and you're trying to like make it, if you're like a guaranteed starter for next year for the Broncos, like you don't really want to risk like really hurting yourself, man. Especially with all the guys going down, which we'll talk about in a second. But
Well,
you don't want
Denver, their safety last week, who they really like, he's played to a Pro Bowl caliber this year. He hurt himself celebrating a touchdown yesterday. He had a high ankle sprain. He got a high ankle sprain. I mean,
wow.
that's like a
Doing what?
See, it's that kind of stuff that you don't
celebrating a
want
touchdown. But anyway,
just like jumping around or
like he could probably rehab and stay on the roster for the last 3 weeks and maybe come back to the last game. But the season's over, so they're just going to shut him down for next season.
Yeah.
Get him healthy. So I mean, stuff like that is definitely happening. But at the same time, too, football, just the nature of the game is, I mean, you can say, I'm just going to go out there and dog it, but when you line up against the other person and they like hit you in the mouth, that's just going to bring the competitive nature out of like anybody. You know what I mean? If you're out there getting hit and you're like, okay, well, I'm out here getting hit.
yeah, it's
I'm
true. It's
competing.
gonna piss you off.
So it's just the
like
nature of the game. You're going to go out there and compete.
It's true.
So I don't know. It's weird. The worst place to be in sports is in the middle, right? Like 500. You're good enough to win. You're not bad enough to have a future of winning. So I don't know. It's just in the middle sucks for sure.
All right, well, let's talk about my Seahawks real quick. They lost to the Jaguars last week by 6. That was a pretty brutal game. Jags just had our number. I had a bad, you go to those games, you just have a bad feeling about it. Like even when you know you're going to be competitive, like you have a pretty good team, you can feel it, man. This is one of those.
Every Utah game this season.
Jags by all means aren't a bad team though. They're now 9-4. Seahawks are 8-5. They were both 8-4 coming into that game, and it was in Jacksonville, so we knew that was going to be a tough one. Surprisingly enough, because the Jaguars are never good, and now they are. So
it's crazy what a couple of draft picks that hit will do to your team, man.
The biggest L's we took in the game, probably the biggest one of the season, Bobby Wagner injured his hamstring. He was the front runner for Defensive Player of the Year. He was second in total tackles. They've done studies on him. In fact, 2 of the plays that Jacksonville scored on were when Bobby wasn't able to be in the game because of his hamstring. And they've shown like statistics when Bobby's not in the game, the defense is just that much worse. They talk about Legion of Boom, like it's Cam Earl and Richard Sherman, but when Bobby's not in the game, dude, things just go wrong. So he did not participate in any practice this week. It's not looking promising for him to come back. And then also KJ Wright is in concussion protocol at the moment as well, not able to come back. So this is a pivotal week for the Seahawks. We play the Rams at home, and this is make it or break it, man. We make the playoffs or we don't, in my opinion.
It's the season.
Yeah, it is. We have to win this one. This is an absolutely must-win game to be able to keep our playoff hopes alive, and it's against the divisional team that we need to beat to win the NFC West potentially. So we've dug ourselves into a little bit of a hole, and now we're chasing. So we'll see if they can dig out of it. Let me just read you. Let me just read you on Wednesday the practice report.
Okay.
So starting DN Nazir Jones did not participate, ankle. Bobby Wagner hamstring. KJ Wright concussion. DN Michael Bennett knee did not participate. Cam Chancellor is done for the season. Richard Sherman done for the season. Limited in practice. Dwayne Brown, the big O-lineman that we got from the Texans, just barely ankle, limited in practice. Jimmy Graham, ankle, limited in practice. Mike Davis, ribs, running back, the one maybe glimpse of hope we've had on a running back this year, limited in practice. Both guards, Luke Yokel and Ethan Pocic, knee and ankle. Deion Jordan, neck. Byron Maxwell, shoulder. Justin Coleman, shoulder.
It's a rough game, man.
So, dude, it is not looking that great. Perfect. And then Thursday, adding to that for today, Earl Thomas, heel, did not participate in practice. So the Seahawks are very, very banged up. We've shown that we have depth on our defense, but if they can overcome, they've got to be able to slow down the potent Rams offense, and I don't know if they can do that. Russell Wilson is still one of the front runners for MVP, although the Jaguars game he threw 3 touchdowns, but also threw 3 interceptions. So I'm not sure if that really hurt or helped his campaign. It's kind of so-so, but I mean it probably didn't help because it didn't really push the needle for him. But
the touchdowns are still impressive though, especially against that Jags D. It's really good. They honestly might be number 1 in the NFL this year. When the season's over.
So anyways, 3 games left. Rams, Cowboys, and Cardinals. I think we need to go at least 2-1. I don't see how we could go 1-2 and make the playoffs, and then the one loss cannot be against the Rams. So that's what it's going to take for the Seahawks to make it. So let's talk about the Cleveland Browns real quick. Let's shout them out.
My goodness.
So the Browns are
a friend that's a really big Cleveland.
Yeah, we have a friend who's a big Cleveland Browns fan. Alec, if you're listening, man, you might just want to mute the next 5 minutes because boy oh boy.
You look at the games of the Browns played, and usually if you're a fan, you like to see like mostly the green little W's, and like a few of the little red L's. The Browns have just full.
Not a single game?
No, just full red L's. The Browns are 0-13.
What?
They have not won since.
Was their last?
It was
game
like last December, yeah.
Yep, it was the.
So it's been a full calendar year
after our Christmas party last year because I gave Alec.
Yeah, because Alec was 1-0 in his Cleveland Browns fanhood. Yeah, that's right.
And then they won.
So think of this, man. Think of this fan base. They haven't seen their team win for a calendar year.
They haven't seen their team done anything of significance since the 80s.
But even a win, dude. They have not seen it happen for a full calendar year now.
Man,
That is
That has to be rough.
wild. That would absolutely suck.
you bet.
And the big reason I want to bring this up is they played the Packers, and they were up. Let me see. They were up 21-7 at one point, and then they let the Packers run a 2-touchdown fourth quarter to their 0-point fourth quarter, and the Packers took it in overtime, and then the Packers won in overtime. Instantly, the Browns started with the ball, and Deshaun Kaiser threw an interception on like the second play, basically to lose the game. And it's just the most. You watch a Browns game, you end up seeing a Browns game on TV, and you say, "Oh, they're about to do something kind of Brownsy here," and they do it. Every single game, they do something Brownsy, dude. They do it, and it blows my mind every time. And the Packers aren't good right now. I mean, they don't have Brett Favre. Favre's actually coming back this week, so that'll be interesting.
Brett Favre's coming out of retirement.
Sorry, wow.
Coming on.
Oh, wow.
Breaking news, guys, on the B&D podcast. Brett Favre's coming out of retirement.
He's done with the Lee commercial.
Yeet.
He's done with the Lee Pan commercial.
He's done with the
Come on, man. They look pretty much the same anyways. Aaron Rodgers, who cares? It's like they didn't even retire. They just went from one to the other.
Hey. Real?
comfortable
Giants.
That's but listen, that's Brett Favre. No, Peyton Manning's Pop is in the house, man.
Okay.
Aaron Rodgers is coming back this week,
So think about this though, real quick, just on that note. The Packers go from Brett Favre, Hall of Famer, top 10 quarterback ever played the position, straight to Aaron Rodgers, Hall of Famer, probably going to be a top 10 player, QB to ever play when he's finished. So you've had 20-ish years of
good quarterback play.
Not good, Hall of Fame, elite quarterback play.
You could say not poor quarterback play.
The best quarterback play you can get. Imagine when Rodgers retires and they have to find somebody else.
The B&D podcast is all about good quarterback play.
It is because it's essential to the game of football. If you don't have a good quarterback, like I've said, don't even line up on Sunday. Don't line up on Saturday. In high school football, you can get away with just handing it off 100 times a game.
Sometimes Thursdays and Fridays don't line up.
Yeah, don't line up on Thursday either. Man, at the highest level of football, if you do not have somebody back there that can play the quarterback position, you're not going to win. But interesting note on the Browns is that just what a disaster. I mean, I just year in and year. I think I'm having a bad season with the Broncos.
That's the interesting note.
The interesting note is that it's been a disaster since the 80s.
It's a profound.
They always lose. At least with the Jaguars have a few playoff appearances sprinkled here and there. Back in the 90s, they knocked off the 1-seed Broncos. Back when there was actually in 96, their first year of existence. So they have some marquee wins to hang their hat kind of on. The Browns literally have nothing.
You know what they need to do?
Their history is full of just absolute L's.
You know what they need to do?
They're most famous, the Cleveland Browns are most famous for John Elway driving 98 yards on them in 1 minute.
You know what they need to do?
What do they need to do?
They need to completely rebrand.
They do.
Who wants to play for a team that's called the Browns and their color is brown? Are you kidding me?
It's not just a brown.
Terrible color.
Are you kidding
It's
me?
like an auburn burnt. Looks like
It's
a
horrible.
leaf that changed
But then they got
colors.
that nasty orange.
Okay, their mascot is a bulldog, right? That's
Yeah.
their mascot. So just be the Bulldogs, man.
What even is the
Just
Browns?
incorporate.
It's,
Isn't it some guy's last name or something?
It was the original owner, Paul Brown, his last
Okay, dude.
name.
So freaking make it Paul Brown Field and call yourself the damn Bulldogs. You have to switch off being the Cleveland Browns.
Sounds like a fair trade-off.
You have to do it. Make
really
it
do.
Paul Brown Field or whatever his name was, man. Just make it that, and then be called the
You
Cleveland
honestly
Bulldogs.
really do. I'm not disagreeing with you all. That's 100%. They just need to distance
No
themselves.
one wants to go play for them.
Yeah.
They have to.
It's career suicide.
It's literally where players go to die.
Except for Joe Thomas. He loves the Browns.
He loves the Browns, and America loves him.
Good on him
just
for
because
that.
of how good he is. Yeah, he's been with the Browns his entire career, which is 7 years now.
Yeah.
So the dude has lost a lot of games. Let me say this: the dude's won very few.
He
games.
only knows losing at the
He
professional
only knows losing at a professional level, and he's been one of the most loyal Browns fans. And Browns fan, it's the one little shining hope in the Browns fan bases. He's the exception of the guy who didn't just run away for money or whatever. He actually likes Cleveland and the Browns.
Denver's tried to trade for him a few times, and he's like, I don't want to go. I'm good.
Yeah.
My God,
Joe Thomas.
Need you
Good
to-
on it. That's something you don't see nowadays that much. Honestly.
Yeah,
That
that's
loyalty,
the-
man, it's really cool.
Sorry.
Okay.
I just posted a Snapchat. I put in the studio like quotation marks. And my friend, he's like, "Are you singing now?"
We were singing
As,
West
Dra-
Virginia.
as Drake crooned from the microphone as he sips from his
sips
dark
from the
murky
dark
substance.
murky substance.
Hey, play the outro back. I'm going back to the booth.
Play that one more time.
Booth.
Back in the
Go
booth.
back in the booth.
It is one of the hottest segments on the B&D podcast. It is Pretender or Contender with
So we got some
DB, Dyllon
we got some
Brendan, not
changes.
DB Cooper.
We got some changes this week.
Okay, perfect. Well, let's hit it. Let's start right off. New England Patriots, 10-3.
Contender for sure.
Never bet against Tom Brady, right?
Nope.
Tommy B.
Don't Tommy Bonds will.
Side note, I'm not throwing them in there, but how gnarly was that snowball, dude?
That was awesome.
That was crazy.
I love it. That's so good.
That was
And
wild.
the fans, can we commemorate the fans?
Oh my gosh! You see the pictures of them? There's like half a foot of snow, and they're just like sitting there, like you know Buffalo Bills fans. They got really big guts and stuff because they eat like just horrible, and they just are sitting there in all their snow gear. Like this snow is just like piling up like on their huge guts, like half a foot, dude. Like it's
Okay,
wild.
so the Buffalo Bills might
I'm gonna
be.
get called out by so many different people. I said nub on the last podcast. Like that is not okay.
Okay, so
Tasteful nub, dude.
Featuring the nub.
Featuring a nub. That's
a
just-
tasteful picture of the nub.
yeah.
Okay, so I think the Buffalo Bills might be the closest thing to the Cleveland Browns in terms of like team and how bad they've been over the years. But the Buffalo lost 3 Super Bowls in a row. Can you imagine that going to
would suck,
3 in a row? And one of them on like a missed shanked like
Honestly,
kick.
No, that sounds familiar.
But
That's so impressive to
Yeah.
even go to that many in a
no,
row.
I know
dude,
that's
because people
insane.
like
That's insane.
it's hard. It's so hard to.
It's
lose,
hard to get to one.
and it's hard to get to one. But then it's even more difficult to lose and to get back to one because you had players that were a Super Bowl caliber level, and they all need to get paid.
Yeah, you
basically.
got
Like the
right?
Panthers.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
the
how hard
Panthers,
was it
yeah.
for them to get
Yeah,
back on their
Panthers
feet,
went from
you know?
Super Bowl year to just like the worst year ever, and now they're finally
Stupid.
bouncing back a little bit from it, and not much changed. They lost Josh
Denver.
Norman. That was it.
Denver took a
Den-
dump.
Denver's
I got a
kind of dipping
hangover.
right
A hangover's
All right.
pretty real.
now.
Okay, well, hold on. Let me make my point against the Bills. Cleveland, you look at a Cleveland Browns fan, you're just like, dude, I'm sorry. You look at a Bills fan, you're like, hey, man, you guys are having fun. You're smashing each other on tables and at the tailgate. You're having fun in the snow.
Y'all getting
you're,
drunk.
You're showing up super plastered to the games. Like it's all good. You guys are
all
good.
good and fun, yeah.
So hey, shout out to you Bills fans. I love you guys smashing each other through tables at the tailgate. That's awesome. So you go guys.
Okay, Pittsburgh Steelers, 11-2, 8 straight.
They are contenders.
Clinched
and
the AFC
my
North?
Super Bowl favorite. You heard it here.
Yep, clinched the AFC North. Jacksonville Jaguars, 9-4.
They are certainly impressive, but I would say contender due to QB play.
Pretender or contender?
Or excuse me, pretender. Thanks for correcting me.
I don't know, Dylan. Just you tell me who's going to win the AFC West. Is it going to be the Chargers?
It's going to be the Dolts.
Okay.
It's going to be the Chargers.
Okay, so Chargers.
Yeah, San Diego. winning the Chargers.
Pretender?
Pretender.
Dude, what if they went? What if they swept the whole dang thing? Freaking Phillip Rivers at age like 95 sweeps the entire thing and wins the Super Bowl and brings it back to San Diego.
Oh my
He says, "L.A., this wasn't for you. San Diego, I'm driving this bad boy to you," because he still lives in San Diego and he takes a
Yeah.
private chauffeur every single day to
When I heard
practice.
that on the last podcast, I was just like, that's
Yeah.
insane. Yeah, that whole
Yeah,
setup where it's
setup.
just like a mobile
Listen to me
theater
right
from the
now.
Washington.
I'll tell you. I'll make you guys a
film.
little. I'll make you guys a little promise.
Dude, what if he sweeps?
Hold
dude?
me to it. If the Los Angeles Chargers win the Super Bowl, I will wear Chargers gear for 1 week straight.
Yeah, baby, let's go. You heard it here first.
I'll buy the Chargers gear and I will wear it for
Yes.
I'll wear nothing but Chargers gear for 1 week
You know what? I think we
straight.
could start a GoFundMe, like with our podcast listeners. I think they might be willing to
Pitch in.
donate a
You're
couple
gonna be
of bucks to the
looking like
cause.
a
Do that.
I'm-
Okay, Philly, 11-2.
so now a pretender with no quarterback. Although Foles is not a bad backup.
True. Yep, Wentz is done, isn't
Nick Foles is not a bad backup. In fact, a few years ago, I really wanted Denver to go after Nick Foles because I thought he could be
Yeah.
starter in the NFL. So that's not the worst backup ever, but it's not Carson Wentz either.
They could
so.
still contend for the NFC Championship.
Yes, they can make some noise in the playoff, but they're not going to win the Super Bowl after, unfortunately, Carson Wentz tearing his ACL.
New York Giants 2-11. I'm just kidding. Minnesota Vikings 10-3. They lost last week. They lost to the Panthers.
Man, I'd say contender, man. They won like 7 in a row before that.
They did. Yep. It was like
So
8.
that defense is legit.
8 or 9.
Keenum has come out of nowhere. Out of nowhere. So I'd say contender at this point still.
Most of the NFC South. So Saints 9-4, Panthers 9-4, Falcons 8-5.
You know that I don't love scam, but I'll give it the Panthers. I'll put them into contender status. They've done enough. You have Matt Ryan, and you have the experience of being in the Super Bowl last year for the Falcons. So I'm contender. Don't be surprised if they're right there. The Saints have Drew Brees.
Falcons.
I said
8-5.
Falcons.
Okay.
Yeah, all contenders right there.
Wow. Last but not least, NFC West, LA Rams 9-4,
Yeah, contender.
Seahawks 8-5.
Contender.
You're just saying that because I'm here.
I'm not.
Yeah, you are.
Don't count Russell Wilson out there. I've seen way too many times
We
where
have a shell of a defense.
I've seen way too many times where I thought, "There's no way Russell Wilson Wilson. There's no way Russell Wilson can pull this off," and he does.
If y'all out there have ever played Madden 17,
Oh my gosh.
I can't remember who it is. I can't remember if it's Al Michaels or just some generic commentator, but he
It's
says...
Madden 16.
Oh, it's 16, yeah. He says,
Wilson.
He'll roll out. Russell Wilson.
We heard our
But
first year with
Oh, Travis Wilson.
Travis Wilson.
Yeah,
Travis Wilson.
Travis
we
Wilson.
we heard every variation of
Wilson.
Wilson.
You're leaving
Still
one out that I would say, since they're getting Aaron Rodgers back this week, Packers, if they sneak into one of those wild card spots, you never know.
Never know.
So they deserve a mention.
Speaking
at
of
least.
Packers, our BYU boy kind of balling out for them last few games, Jamal Williams.
He is. He looks
He's had like 100
a
all-purpose yards for every game in the last like 4 games, something like
Yep.
that. So good for him. Cool. Well, there you go. There you have NFL. Let's talk a little NBA. Let's talk Utah Jazz, and let's talk about how much I don't like Ricky Rubio right now.
Let's hear it.
So here's the thing. He came in, he had a couple pretty good games, right? Like, he showed us some stuff, and it seemed like in the beginning, if Rubio was on, we would win. If he's off, we would lose. And that really seems to be one of the keys in how the Jazz are going game by game, because Mitchell, dude's balling out. Even on the games we lose, dude's balling out. He dropped like
30 plus points.
Yeah, he dropped like 32 points against the Bulls the other night, and we lost by 3 or 4.
Yeah, 3.
So, dude, if Rubio also happens to be on that night, Hood was shooting pretty well. Like, so if Rubio even just does what he's supposed to do, 12 points, 8 assists, like 3-4 rebounds, and like 4 steals, 3-4 steals, and then like minimizes turnovers. That's what he's supposed to do. If he can come in and do that every single night, we'd win more of these games, and he's not doing it. He's played horribly.
So what, like, Rubio really hangs his hat on? Like, we knew coming in, he's not a great shooter. He can't create his own shot.
And that's
he's not
fine,
super
'cause we knew that.
opposingly athletic, but he hung his hat on him, getting his teammates great looks and passing the ball and like playing good defense. And he's done none of that this year. He's a turnover machine.
Yeah.
Like, he's been turning the ball over at an astronomical rate, and it's surprising because it's like, is this Ricky Rubio? Like, the dude that's throwing these wizardly one behind the back passes with one hand and through the legs and running fast breaks and getting out in transition, and he had, I don't know.
He actually had a half decent game against the Bulls. He had 6 rebounds, 4 assists, and 14 points, which is what you want him to do. But those 5 turnovers that he had pretty much eliminate all the assists he had.
Does it show his plus minus for the game?
He was +3.
I mean, that's not huge, but I mean, it is plus.
I don't know. There's talks of the NBA trade deadline is approaching. Do you know when that is? Is that in?
I'm not gonna tell you. I know the exact date, but it is like midway through the season.
Did you know that Ricky Rubio started in the Spanish basketball league at age of 14?
Yeah,
14?
he started playing pro at 14.
14?
So
All right,
he's
so
not the
it's-
young. So
It's February 8th is the
Okay.
trade deadline, so we got a couple months. But part of me wants just the Jazz to go out and get just someone like better than Rubio and maintain. Like I still think we can maintain some of his trade value, but I don't know if he's worth a lot, to be honest.
it's going to be hard to find value for him. And for the little bit of knowledge I have from playing GM mode on NBA 2K18, I've found out it's actually pretty freaking difficult to match salaries and like make trades
Nice.
like in the NBA.
And
So
you're basing this off of 2K18?
well, it works the same way because
Oh.
it's showing
Oh.
like the players that are on NBA 2K18. It's their real salaries. So if you're trying to trade somebody in the game, it's like you were really trying to trade them in real life. So like Rubio is making $14 million a year.
Like, I'm sure this is pretty. I'm sure you're not wrong. It's just really, really
It is
funny
funny.
that
But-
we're basing our analysis off of what you have constructed in NBA 2K.
Listen to me. I just
And we're-
traded Rodney Hood, a 2021 first-round unprotected draft pick, for Kemba Walker, straight up. And the Hornets took it in a second.
You're basing what we could really trade Ricky Rubio for based on what
No,
you did.
I'm
in
saying
NBA
that
2K18.
that he has a hard salary to get rid of because he's not playing great. He can't shoot the ball, and he's making $14 million this year.
So here are his numbers in December: 7.7 points per game, about 5 less where we need him to be. 1.3 steals per game, so about 3 less than we need it to be. 4.2 assists per game, so about 3 or 4 less than we need it to be. 4 rebounds per game, that's pretty on par. Field goal percentage is 33%. It needs to be higher, man. It's not good.
He needs to, his usage rate needs to go down, and his field goal efficiency needs to go up. He needs to take less shots, and he needs to make more of the shots he takes less of.
Yep.
Which is weird to say, but like honestly, that basketball needs to be in Donovan Mitchell's hand every time they come up the court.
Yeah, he needs to run
And
the offense.
it needs to come back around to him more often than not. Donovan Mitchell's usage rate should be through the roof. They should just be using him on every offensive possession. So, I don't know. It's just the Jazz. I think, honestly, the Jazz really traded for Rubio to appease Gordon Hayward.
I totally
And
agree.
then he bailed, and they're like, well, our plan for Rubio really is not what it's going to be because we were hoping he would get Gordon Hayward more open looks. And he's
Did you
not
see
hitting more.
Hayward said, so we play the Celtics next, right? We play them tomorrow or whatever.
Yes.
See, Hayward said he's looking forward to seeing his old buddies,
His
but
old pals.
hopes they win by,
Beat 'em by 40.
but hopes
Yeah.
we beat him by 40. Yeah, that's what he said.
Well, he's not even showing up to the game, which
like any of the Jazz players are gonna be like,
You don't think he'll be there at all?
he said he's not attending
really?
the game.
He said
Yeah,
he
it's
won't.
confirmed. He's not attending in person. So, I mean, whatever.
Wow. Like, is there really a Jazz player out there who's gonna be like, hell yeah, I'm so pumped to see Gordon
What up,
tomorrow.
dude? I'm so glad.
What up, Gordon? What up,
I
Gordon?
mean, I
What's
can
going
see
on,
like
my dude?
Joe will,
Like maybe Ingles,
giving him
maybe-
a hug or something,
maybe
but he's
Ru-
not going to be like, let's
maybe
sit down at
Rudy-
this Boston brewery and
Yeah,
kick
and,
back
like,
a
catch
few
up and-
cold ones
yeah.
and hang out.
Yeah,
No, he's good. Like,
You see Joe Ingles and Trevor Booker's exchange when we played the Nets and Booker came on the court for the first time.
No, was it
Joe
funny?
Ingles just shoves him, just like a full on shove, and Booker just like kind of walks off and they both laugh and stuff. It was actually pretty funny. I just
That's
love how
cool.
much like Booker loves the Jazz still and how much the Jazz players
Yeah.
still love him.
honestly, you know that I was not like, you know that I liked Booker, but I was like, yeah, it's not a big deal when he left. I would take him back right now.
If we could get him for a good price,
I would love to
Alright.
have him back on the
just
team.
his enthusiasm, his love for the team, man. It's just good to add to the locker room, Like we have a lot of that right now, and Mitchell's doing a really great job at that. But just to add that guy, and the dude could slam it down.
Oh, Booker don't.
The dude could freaking slam
He
it down.
could.
Also, he has like one of the fastest shots in NBA history with that little. Remember, there was like 0.3 seconds left, or 0.2.
The little boot button.
It was 0.2. It was the quickest that you could actually get a shot off in the NBA. They say 0.1 is literally impossible. You can't.
It has to be a tip if it's 0.1.
It can't. You can't even do 0.1 on a tip.
Yeah, like you have to throw it at the rim and just touch it. Like you just have to glance.
I've heard that 0.1 is like literally impossible. Even if you tipped it, they would still call it. They would still say shot clock.
Well, I've seen plays. Like I saw David Lee playing it, and when he was playing with the Knicks, they threw the ball at the rim with 0.1 seconds left. Hit his hand, bounced off the glass, and in the count.
All right,
so
well,
I don't know.
Okay. Anyways, would be kind of fun to get him back. Let's do a quick contender pretender for the NBA.
It's gonna be quick because there's only two contenders.
That's fine. Yeah, Boston Celtics.
3 contenders. It's our contenders for the Eastern Conference Finals.
Okay, Cavs,
Contender for the finals.
Raptors,
Pretender.
Bucks,
Pretender.
Wizards.
Pretender.
Okay. 8-20, Dallas Mavericks.
Oh my gosh, dude, they're contenders
Oh my
for the
gosh.
first round pick. For the number 1 pick.
Dude, what happened to the Grizzlies? They're dead last.
Fired their coach.
That's wild.
Wheels kind of fall off. Zach
They were-
Randolph's not there
They
anymore.
were good last year. Houston Rockets. They've won
Yes.
11 straight. They're 22-4.
Freaking contender, dude. That is going to be a wild 7-game series in the Western Conference Finals.
With the Golden State
Golden State
Warriors,
Warriors.
22-6.
Honestly, like I wouldn't be surprised. I won't be surprised either way. If Golden State wins and goes to the finals, I'll be like, yeah, they've been there, elite team. If the Houston wins, I won't be surprised either. Houston's that good.
Spurs 19-9.
No, they're just right outside of that like level of actually contending.
I'm going to throw this one out there in case they magically kind of figure things out and turn it on. Oklahoma City Thunder.
They can't shoot, man. They have the
13 and
same
14.
problem. Russell Westbrook, great slasher finisher at the rim. Not really that great of a shooter. Paul George, not really that great of a shooter. They just have a Robertson, not a great shooter. They just have a lineup full of non-shooters, so it's hard to generate offense. So, I don't know. I'd say pretender.
All right. Well, there you go. You heard it here first. Now we're going to segue into kind of our world politic news section here. We're going to talk about space. Space.
The final frontier.
The final frontier that is the universe. Let's start by saying space is nuts.
Space is
Space is terrifying.
Yeah, space scares the hell out of me.
So, Trump signs a directive that's going to return NASA to the moon and then aim for Mars. And I want to focus on NASA and the moon and Mars and space travel more so than like what Trump's doing in this. It just so happens that Trump is kind of aiding this whole process.
He's just the one that signed it.
Yeah, right. That's funny. They show that picture of Trump turning around the document, and people kept photoshopping that to fill in like different
that was
things.
good.
That was awesome.
There
That
was
was a good
some
little
gold
meme.
that came out of that.
The Pokemon cards.
So here's a little blurb from NBC News. Trump signed his administration's first space policy directive on December 11th, which formally directs NASA to focus on returning humans to the moon, a place where we haven't been since, what was it, 78?
45 years ago.
Wasn't it in the 60s?
Was it,
No,
was
like
it
68 or
68
something.
68?
No, because we didn't go there until 69.
We had a couple.
Yeah, the first time we went to the moon was in the 60s, right?
Yeah.
69? 69.
Yeah.
So no, he's saying when was the last time we were there.
Oh,
It was in
They did it for like
in
10
the
years.
70s or something.
Yeah,
was
like how many?
Oh.
Okay, so it's... Okay.
I thought you were asking the first time we went.
No.
No. So it's still been a while.
Sorry.
So, and here's the other thing is, he doesn't necessarily want us just to like leave some footprints and plant a flag. He wants a little something like more permanent.
Does he want like a moon rock for his desk?
People have people have toyed with moon colonies. Eventually, Mars colonies, and the moon would be the first step, right? That would basically that's like your Mars training, pretty much, right? It's like go to the moon and
you a base
colonize,
to-
and yeah.
To launch off from
Yeah,
there. So you don't have to launch
that
from
too.
the
Yeah,
planet.
exactly. So, what happens when we do that? Do we go back to like medieval times when people were just like conquering stuff left and right? Does the moon just become that like type of territory again. And we have like the northern hemisphere, and like Russia has the southern. Like,
Well, actually, there's a interesting thing. Same with the moon and Alaska. There's like an international directive where you're not allowed. No one's allowed to own any portions of this
Space.
So it's like the moon. You can't be like, hey, we claim this as our territory. Like, sure, we put a
USA,
flag there,
baby.
but yeah, we can't say like, hey, we own this portion of the moon. Just like we can't say anyone owns this portion of Alaska. It's like dedicated to science and research like that.
So Trump was quoted saying exactly 45 years ago, almost to the minute when he signed this document, Jack Schmidt became one of the last Americans to land on the moon. And today, being December 11th, we pledge that he will not be the last. The directive I'm signing today will refocus America's space program on human exploration and discovery. It marks an important step in returning American astronauts to the moon for the first time since 1972. So there you go, there it is. For long-term exploration and use. This time we will not only plant our flag and leave our footprint, we will establish a foundation for an eventual mission to Mars and perhaps someday to many worlds beyond. Honestly, I love space. It is fascinating to me. It's like, it's one of the most mind-blowing concepts that we have out there today, and it's like just, I don't know, thinking about thinking about USA having this colony on the freaking moon, like, how sick would that be to say? Like, how sick would that be? Dude, think of the pictures, think of like the stuff. Man, I want to go to the moon. Is it too late?
Dude, I'm
24.
I'm too scared.
Can I start now?
No, I think you probably could.
Scared.
I think if they established something there, you could do it.
Make it
Because you
a
can go
little
to
easier?
space now, like commercially, like go to Russia and pay like $100,000. They'll take you up to space.
How sick would it be, like your 30th wedding anniversary? Hey, honey, I bought us a weekend at the moon.
At the moon.
Just the moon? Are you kidding me? That's insane. That'd be absurd. That'd be so cool.
Includes travel time.
I'd love to do that.
Okay, let me ask you this. So, did you guys see that movie Passengers that came out
I
last year?
love that movie.
Did not. Didn't have the privilege.
Okay,
What?
so the
That was
Chris Pratt,
Chris
dude,
Pratt,
Jennifer Lawrence.
yeah,
okay.
so the
Did not
premise,
see it.
you know the premise of it, right?
Yeah.
They're gonna go colonize a new planet, and
I just
they're
remember the bartender and he was a robot.
Yeah, dude.
He just like,
Oh, I need to watch that again. I
So
think
it's
it's
like
like
they're in like hibernation for like 1,000 years or something. Like they don't age in the hibernation pod. If that existed, and there was like some far away.
It's like Interstellar, where they,
Like
they
Interstellar.
discover like the sleep where they carbon
Yes.
in water and they like sleep for
If
months.
that existed and there was an option to
I think
go to a
NASA's
new
actually,
planet
like,
and
looking
colonize
at
it, what would it take for you to do it? Or would you? Would there be anything that would make you do that?
I think I would do it.
You think you'd do it?
Yeah, could you imagine like just being able to be on that that frontier?
what?
Going
Okay,
somewhere.
here's and that's the thing is that's what they're offering you.
You'd be the new Adam,
Exactly. You would be.
and you're, well, whoever would be.
Get a nice little
the lucky lady that.
But
Well, I'm
you-
assuming they would get a bunch of couples.
Yeah.
I don't think you're just.
Right, I know,
I don't
I
think it's just gonna be like this social gathering and it's like pick a mate and then like
but none of you guys
go on
are,
from there.
none
Like,
of you would be like scared that like
That's definitely scary. Like you never know. Like what if you don't wake up?
dude,
or if you get there and all of a sudden you pull up there and all of a sudden there's already something there waiting for you. Like,
They're
you know
like
what I
pull
mean?
up then.
Hey, pull up then.
it would be, dude. It would be terrifying, but honestly, I couldn't think of a more fulfilled life, to be honest.
But you have to leave your whole family behind.
It's just as scary, you know, as buying Bitcoin when it was $10. and banking on Bitcoin.
Banking on
Baking
Bitcoin.
on Bitcoin and buying Ripples and
Well, I'll say this.
I-
Go ahead.
Yeah, I guess I would want to be like. I'm thinking of the right age. I would want to be like 30 with no kids, maybe. So I've still lived like a good, like a third of my life on Earth.
Had a good Earth life. Now
Yeah.
you're ready to.
And like I don't
Live
have
out
kids,
the
so
rest
I'm,
of your days
like
and then-
I'm not leaving kids behind. Like my parents are getting kind of older, anyways. You know, like I don't know. I think it'd be kind of cool.
we're talking no more NFL, no more NBA.
Well, hold on, let's not jump to conclusions here.
Honestly,
If
those are.
they can transmit images from that little space thing that went into Saturn,
Okay, that's
we
true.
can transmit NFL to Mars.
You wake up with a
to Mars.
lot of sports to watch. You know?
Yeah, dude, but on Passengers, it was going to take him like 4,000 days to send an email to Earth or whatever. to tell him that he woke up.
So you
early.
can just catch 4 Super Bowls in a row. 4 seasons.
Hey, just
in
stack
a
them
row.
all up and just send them to me, and I'll watch them all
I'll
at
just
once.
watch all the seasons.
Yeah, and I'll just find out who's in them by just watching
I don't
them.
know, man. I'm just conservative in nature. I guess I just
Honestly,
wouldn't do that. For me
I don't
personally,
know.
I mean, it's cool if you guys.
Your main point
about
is
it.
like, but what are you going to do about sports? I think
No,
sports.
no. That's not my main point. My main point is.
But that's what you were challenging me on,
Yeah.
and I honestly I would love it because I hate sports. I hate them so
No,
much.
you
Think of the
I do.
peaceful life you would live
Dude,
without
it's
sports.
honestly, it's like
You would hate
my
hate
level.
life without
hate
the
it.
Seahawks.
My level of like fandom is just like cancerous to myself because it's too high, dude. It's just too high, and I have too many teams, and like they're always gonna let me down. Like, which one of my teams is gonna be a perennial like champion? None of them. None of them are. And so I'm always gonna be let down.
No teams minus the Patriots are like perennial champions.
But that's the goal. That's the goal of sports is
But
to
it-
be consistent
to
champion.
win,
Yeah.
but you're not ever gonna win all the time. Nobody is.
I'm just my point is it would be nice to just leave that all behind and go colonize another planet with my freaking hot wife and just
Let me ask you guys this.
just take a bunch of guns and just shoot a bunch of shit and just call it good. You know what I mean?
Do you think time moves slower on Mars than it does on Earth since we're closer?
I have no idea.
Did you watch
How long
I
is like
watched
a
Interstellar, but it just was really boring to me. So I'm not the greatest.
That's the one with
Matthew McConaughey.
the Lincoln MKZ guy, right?
Lincoln? He pulls up in his space like
All right. He's in his suit. It's 6 a.m. in the morning. It's 6 a.m. and he's all freshly trimmed and everything.
Well,
you know, the
I know
commercial.
the episode title for this.
Wow.
He
episode.
actually does a really good job, but the kind of the premise behind that is they find a planet close to this super black hole to where like 5 minutes on that or an hour on that planet equaled like 7 years back on Earth.
That'd be pretty wild.
So I wonder.
Well, that's like because of the black hole.
That's what I'm saying. I know that we're closer to the
Space.
sun, but is the distance significant enough to make time on Earth quicker than on Earth?
Yeah.
Or excuse me, Earth quicker than Mars. That's a little deep, but
Space is wild, man. Space is wild, and I've always thought this, even dating back to the high school years when I made all my friends take physics.
Physics 1010.
10,
Good
or
question.
It was just us
Good.
watching
1040.
I got a
space
good-
movies.
I got a
I
good
was-
story about that.
I was like, yo, it's just gonna be everybody watching dope space movies. Turns out, no, that's not what it was. It was like these stupid little packet assignments all the time.
Dude.
And remember you had to like plot things out on the
Dude.
computer and stuff?
Look at this, look at
I
this.
literally made all my friends take this stupid class. Yeah, because like,
Is it
guys,
astronomy.
yeah, astronomy.
Astronomy.
Because I was told literally all you do is just watch dope like Stephen Hawking, like, hello, this is Stephen Hawking.
watch the
We are
Nova.
going to.
All right.
I mean, I'm going to start offending more people here now, but
Let me hit you with this story. I'm in 12th grade, and we're winding down the year. There's half a year left before we graduate. Just like Brendan said, he told me, hey man, sign up for this astronomy class. All you do is just watch dope space movies.
that's like
all
a
day
direct,
long.
I think that's a direct quote.
That was
like-
film. You watched a bunch of dope
I said,
in film studies.
okay, all right.
All right.
So I signed up for it, and I walk into the class, and it's the hardest class I've ever taken at the high school level.
It was really hard.
And I'm sitting there, and halfway through, I just, in my head, I go, you know what? I'm already graduating. I don't actually need this class to graduate high school. If I flunk this class, yeah, it might knock my GPA a little bit, but I'm still leaving here. I'm still leaving Bingham High School with a diploma.
Go
So
Miners.
I just stopped caring about the class. I just like, you know what? I'm just going to show up and not pay attention and be a bad student. And then about halfway through the class, halfway through the quarter, the teacher comes up and says, hey, you can't be in this class anymore. And I was like,
Really?
why?
Mr. Harrett?
Mr. Harrett goes,
Harrett?
because this is actually a class that gives you community college credit, and you didn't sign up through the community college, so I can't get you a grade. And I was like, so...
Yes.
I remember this happened to me and Brandon as well. And we
what do
just
you
stuck it out.
What do you want me to do? And he's like, go find another class, I guess. And I was like, so my grade's not going to count? And he's like, no, you don't have a grade. And I was like, well, damn. What?
I'll just stay in this
Yeah,
class.
this is perfect.
Yeah.
No, so I went back down to the council and I said, hey, man, This guy kicked me out of the class, said, I don't have a grade. What am I supposed to do? He's like, go find another class. So I went back to number one love of my life at that time, the art teacher.
I never had her.
Oh,
You guys were
what was her
you guys were-
Alex was
She was the
obsessed with
freaking
her.
best. I loved her so much. What was her name?
The drawing teacher, not the art teacher, which we had.
No,
You and
the
I.
drawing teacher.
It's like Melanie.
No, it was her name was Miss Davis, and then she got married, and it was something else.
R.I.P.
But anyway, I said, hey, I went to her class, and I said, I got kicked out of my astronomy class, and I need another one. Can I be the TA in this class? She's like, oh my gosh, I would love that.
She brushed your bicep
Yeah,
like
she
that.
said, I love having you as a student, and I would love that so much. We're going to have so much fun, yes. And so,
So many innuendos.
Yeah.
yeah, your boy turned a failing grade into spending another half semester.
Another beautiful semester with the love of your life.
with the love of my life, my high school teacher crush.
You don't remember her name.
And I don't remember her name.
Oh, it was like started with like a G. I think.
Miss Gardner. It was
There
Miss
you go.
freaking Gardner.
That's all he needed. He needed one letter.
One letter.
Gardner. It was Miss Gardner, dude. So yeah, your boy really, he scored on that one. So that's one of the proudest moments of my life, was when I turned that F in the one more semester with Miss Gardner.
All right. Dude, I had such... Wow. Just 4 Matthew McConaughey's in the room. Wow. Just straight to Owen Wilson now? Wow.
McConaughey to Wilson.
Okay, so I had such a bad grade in that astronomy class
It was so hard.
that I had a quiz that was fat fingered.
Oh yeah.
I had, and quizzes were worth like a ton of your grade too. It's all weighted, you know, because it was a college class. And it was fat fingered the way it was entered in. And I ended up getting 4,000% on this quiz. And my grade was so bad.
Instantly.
My grade was so bad though that it didn't give me like over 100% in the class. Like I still had like a 95. And Mr. Harrod never caught it. I was literally writing out. I was so worried because I was writing out this like half of this semester with this huge flaw in my grade. If he catches it, I'm talking. I go from like a 95 to like a 30% or something like it was that bad. And he never caught it. And I finished the class with this quiz at 4,000%.
He probably went back and was like, how is everybody else at like 40%? This guy at 95? What the hell?
He never caught it. He never once caught it. It was awesome.
You know what the thing is about high school teachers, though? Once you realize as you get older, like, they don't care.
They probably really don't.
They're really just there to like
they're just
move you
passing
from
you
one
through.
point.
Yeah, like the special teachers that like, I mean, people have these like teachers that are like, oh, this person really helped me, really taught me. Like, there's a few of those out there, but most of those guys are just so jaded by like the public school system. It might be different in private school. I don't know. I never went to private school, but they're just so jaded by the public school system. They're just like. And they just have to deal with so many shitty kids.
Yeah.
They're just
Austin-
like, I'm just pushing you through.
Austin literally bought off like half his teachers with
Yeah.
cheese-filled Danishes.
Danishes and Dr. Peppers.
Danishes, dude. He would buy them off.
Well, I went up to one of my.
It sounds like Graber.
Graber,
Great
dude.
guess.
I went up to one of my teachers,
Sandwich.
freaking Mr. McDonald Mac, and I didn't do anything in the entire class but just mess around on Twitter all day long.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, that was his famous. Good kid, good boy. He's like, what do you think your grade should be? And I was like, an A. And he's like, why? And he's like, because I'm trying to just get the best grade possible. I literally did nothing. And he said, oh, okay.
Graber was,
You're all right. Bring in some McDonald's.
Graber was awesome until he went through that crippling divorce. Then it was. That wasn't as good.
That's sad.
He's a good guy though. All right, funny story time.
Cool.
I want to go first this
Yeah,
time.
you go first.
Okay. I'm gonna have Austin look at this.
see
But
this.
okay, so here's the thing. This is out of the UK. Okay, so it's primary school, so we're talking elementary school. Missed. Also, dude, I keep getting the dopest sweater advertisements.
That's actually cool.
Look at that.
Normally
Look how
these
sick that
advertisements
is.
are dumb.
I know,
It'd be
dude, I get
some
this all the
sweater with
time.
your last name would be like only an Anderson or something.
Okay.
And they're terrible.
So this elementary school happened to put something a little crude into this newsletter. Okay.
Okay.
Hey, you guys have to respond to mine.
Okay,
You have to
well,
laugh accordingly.
I'm trying to
right?
hit mine.
That's fine.
Dude,
but
you're teaming up with Austin over there. I'm teaming up
I'm not
with
teaming up. I'll show you the picture
okay,
too.
Okay.
I need honest laughs at this. So this elementary school missed something. They made this little newsletter So, and it says Christmas jumper day, Friday the 15th of December. So it says Friday the 15th, we're supporting Save the Children's Christmas Jumper Day, and if children wish to be involved, they can jazz up their uniform by wearing a Christmas jumper. Again, this is in like the UK somewhere, so they have a sweater. For the day.
I always recall sweaters, jumpers.
That sounds
awesome.
fun. This is completely voluntary. If your child takes part, they can support this occasion by making a voluntary donation. Okay, so I'm going to show this around the room here, but here is a picture of the sweater idea that they gave to all of these elementary school kids to come and wear.
Sent that one out there.
Wow.
That is a
Both
that is a
sides of this sweater have mounted reindeer. And you know what I mean when I mean mounted.
Oh, yeah.
You mean some childhood fun around the neighborhood at the Christmas lights?
Yeah, dude,
A
exactly.
little maneuvering of the
Yeah,
deers.
the lighted deers. I have a real quick funny story about
Especially when their
that.
necks roll back and forth.
So, this article from metro.co.uk says, "Hey children, why not jazz up your uniform with a jumper showing 2 pairs of mating reindeer? It's all for charity." That's what a primary school accidentally suggested to pupils. It says accidentally, they claim. Suggested to pupils and parents. I wish we called kids pupils. In their newsletter advertising. Hey, impromptu call from Kessler Otley. Hey Kessler, what's going on? You're on live with the B&D podcast.
Oh, what's up, guys?
Hey, hey.
What up, playa?
What's up, dude?
Oh, good. How was B-dubs?
Oh, it was delicious.
Oh,
good.
good.
Spicy.
That's a new rule on the B&D podcast is you have to answer all phone calls on speaker. Okay,
there you go.
deal. From a parent, from a girlfriend. Okay, deal. From here on out.
Okay.
Okay, rule set. Episode 11. Mark it down. Dylan shakes his head.
Incredible.
What's up, KB?
Dude, I am on hour 4 of editing this wedding, and
And you need some Fortnite to clear your mind.
I did, precisely.
I knew
So,
it.
It was
Well-
either that or Rocket League, so
Well, we've only got a couple minutes left, so I will hop on with you afterwards.
sick, dude. Give me a shout.
All right, all right, all right. All right, all right, all right. Wow.
Wow.
Wow. Keep killing it with the podcast.
Thanks,
and,
bro. Talk to you soon.
Alright.
Okay, bye.
Peace.
Mounted reindeer, guys.
You're aggressively
Pretty
cutting
wild,
off
so-
the phone call there.
Okay.
Okay, so
Yeah.
pretty good story. This story is coming to us out of Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
Actually,
Manawa County, Wisconsin.
Manawa County.
Stephen Avery, though. My
Getting
boy
my
Stevie.
bakes from
My boy
the
Stevie.
grocery
He didn't do
store.
it.
Oh, yeah.
He didn't do it.
Actually, let me make sure it was Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, Wisconsin.
Space.
Outer space. No. Okay. We're just throwing way too many movie references in here. Okay, so this she's a news reporter, and it's one of the first snowfalls in Wisconsin. She's out on the side of the road, and before they go live, her crew is messing around in the snow, and she gets absolutely smoked in the face with a snowball. I mean, I'm talking like 100 miles an hour, like a rocket. So I'll show you guys a video. I'll put the audio up the old mic here, and we'll play it and we'll see if it gets a good laugh. Love the hat.
They're like, your wife's silly.
Right to the face.
Just a rocket to the face, dude.
Oh, they're having fun. Look at that fun crew. It's a good time.
Cute little smile.
Nice leather gloves.
Leather gloves, there's cars driving by.
Oh, we're on the side of the road here in Wisconsin.
Oh, man,
So she just absolutely takes a rocket to the face.
L's.
So yeah,
L's on L's.
my funny story right there. So we're gonna get the old vote going out on the old Twitter sphere. Snowball rocket to the face or mounted reindeer. It's up to you to decide. Public.
Do you mind if I throw one in just real quick?
Yes.
It pertains to the mounted reindeer. So,
Tell all mounted reindeer story because
well, I mean, we used to do that,
Yes.
hoodlums in the neighborhood. Last year, it's my first date with this girl. I'm out in California, and I'm taking her home after the date, and I see that her neighbor has some deer, so I decide to tell her, it's a funny story how we used to do that. And then I get this crazy idea. I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna park down the road. We're gonna walk up. We're gonna mount these deer, and it's her neighbor right next door to her, but they're around the corner. So I run up, and I'm about to pick up this deer, and I hear, "Hey, what are you doing?" So coming from the window of the neighbor's house, and I was just like, "Oh, nothing. It fell over." And then I just kind of set it down, and we walk away. And we hide in my car, and then all of a sudden the neighbor comes pulling around in their car, and they pull up right behind me, and they come up to the door, and they knock on my window, and they're like, "Hey, what are you doing here? Who's in the car with you?" And I was like, "Oh, just my friend." And they're like, "Oh yeah, is that it?" They're like, "Well, we know it was you. We're calling the cops and stuff." And I was like, "Great." So we take off and hide in some other neighborhood. Her brother comes and picks us up. First time I'm dating this girl, and we had a stint of dating it for a while. I could not park at her house. I had to park down the street around the corner for months. Anytime I go there because of this. Deer. Because I tried to mount a deer. What are you doing? So that's how our interactions started off.
Is this the girl? Is this the same girl?
Yeah.
In California?
Yeah, the Cali
girl. The girl. Nice. So, if you get, I don't know. I just don't know any childhood that didn't have that exist in it. I don't know a world where mounting fake reindeer at Christmas time wasn't a thing. So,
okay. Well, we're going to do our artist plug. His name is Jonathan. His Twitter handle is Mazelthon. I actually don't know how he prefers for that to be pronounced. Let me just say this. Not only is this guy an incredibly talented photographer, he comes up with insanely unique concepts. His editing style, he's constantly changing up his editing style. We're looking at a few of his pictures right now. And it's really, really cool. He had a stint there where he was editing based on inspiration he gained from album covers. So he did a bunch to the Turnover album covers and stuff, and he was editing pretty much strictly based on that. Like I'm showing Austin some of these. It's just super cool. It's super unique. He does some dual exposures, and it's kind of hard to explain his style because he kind of jumps around, but it's so cool that he does jump around in the way that he does, and it's just, I don't know, it's really refreshing to see such a unique, mindset and perspective on everything this guy does. And I've only met him a couple of times, but he seems like a super cool guy. I believe I know he's from Texas. I think it's Houston. He's from Houston, yeah. Again, his name is Jonathan. His Twitter handle is at MAZALTHAN. Again, that's MAZALTHAN. So Mazelthon. Maybe it's like a Mazalton, like a 14, 14.
Sounds like a name off of Star Trek.
14. Anyways, really cool dude. Instagram handle is exactly the same. So check him out. Again, I met him a couple times. He seems like a really, really cool guy.
Yeah, I actually had the pleasure of meeting him when he was here in Utah. Was it back in September, October?
Straight shooter.
We got wings of him.
Yeah,
this dude came to Trolley Wing Co.
That's right. And I followed him on Instagram, and I had the same exact thoughts. I'd see his pictures come up on my feed, and I was like, wow, this is really unique. Totally, I loved seeing that different style to his editing. Mm-hmm. It was nice to see that. So definitely give him a follow. It's really cool.
Yes, check his work out. Again, we only shout out good dudes, so this guy is a good dude and he has quality work. So definitely take a look at him. We will link all of his accounts in the description of this podcast, so you can check it out if you want. Yeah, I think it was a good episode, boys. I think
a lot of fun.
Hot Shocky and the old
candy
cane here. Forgot what it was for a second.
Peppermint going.
Was
what's that one
success.
thing? What's that? What is it called? Drunken History?
Where
they just get drunk and then try to They try
Remember
to like
history.
tell some story that happened in history, and it's just really funny.
You should
they
have an
play-
episode.
You know what I'm talking about?
You should just get
Yeah.
really drunk and
I'm saying maybe this is our thing. It's just like the hot chalky in sports or something.
Every once in a
Some
while.
hot chalky in sports.
jockey and some a little extra.
Yeah. So
Okay.
maybe some Baileys for Gentry. Yeah.
Creamy.
Okay, guys, I think that's a good place to wrap up, so we will end it here. Just a quick plug. Remember to go check out our new podcast network home, the Broken Spoken Podcast Network, brokenspokenpodcastnetwork.wordpress.com. You can check out a couple of the shows that are loaded on there, like the Broken Spoken Podcasts. It's just three bros chilling, talking. Three bros chilling in a hot tub.
5 feet apart,
Feet apart
crazy
because they're not gay. They talk movies, they talk computers, they talk gaming, really anything that just comes up. They have a long montage on Stranger Things in the first episode that's really good. So check that episode. You can also check out my side project that I've been working on with one of the creators from Broken Spoken Network, YouTube Love. We talk all things YouTube. That comes out bi-weekly. So definitely check out this podcast network. Check out some of the other shows that are on the network. We really appreciate the support there, and we appreciate all the support on this podcast as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, we love taking the conversation outside of the podcast. So if you guys know us, text us, group chat, text us individually, call us. We'd love to carry on the conversation, talk about space, sports, politics, Trump, Bears ears, whatever it is, some Bitcoin, some cryptocurrencies,
Sody Pops.
some Sody Pops, some Papa John's, some Matthew McConaughey's. We love it all. Movies, movie quotes. So follow us at BD_podcast on Twitter, and let's continue the conversation there. Thank you guys so much for listening this week. We really appreciate y'all, and we strive to continue to deliver quality content week in and week out. So thank y'all very much. Have an excellent weekend. Take care. Wow. All right.
See you guys.
Later.